Hi everyone, I wanted to make this video to do a book review about a book that I recently completed and was so in love with. And the title of the book is Shakti Mantras. Tapping into the great goddess energy within. Enhance your spiritual gifts, lighten your karmic burden, improve your health, and increase prosperity. Live in harmony with the universe. This is by Ashley-Farrand, who is the author of Healing Mantras. And if you go through my videos, you will see that I have a book review video on Healing Mantras, which was a book that I just raved over. I love that book. I learned so much from it. So I found this book in the store, and I was in the Eastern mysticism section, and all I saw was the spine. I was like, what is that? Then I looked, I was like, oh my God, it's that dude that wrote that book. That book was amazing. I'm getting this book. So I got one copy, and I thought I lost it on the bus, but it was actually in my laptop bag. But because I thought it was lost, my friend bought me another, so I got 2 copies. But yeah, this book is, even though it is under 260 pages, it is very jam-packed with information. So before I get started on the review, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the author, and I'm going to read to you his bio. Thomas Ashley-Farrand, Namadeva, practiced mantra-based spiritual disciplines since 1973 and was an acknowledged expert in Sanskrit mantra spiritual disciplines, Vedic priest, author, and international lecturer and storyteller. Mr. Ashley-Farrand made presentations in the US and Canada as well as India. He was priest in residence for the Temple of Cosmic Religion in Washington, D.C. from 1973 to 1980. Thomas lived in Southern California with his wife, Satyabhama, an attorney in private practice, who often performed the ancient Vedic ceremonies with him. He died in 2010, and this book was written in 2003, or published, and it has sanskritmantra.com, which is the site that you can go because he also has more books. So, let me get started with Shakti Mantras. Kind of tired, it's late at night. So it says Shakti power. He explains what Shakti power is in the basics. This is chapter 1, the basics, which talks about chakras, Sanskrit, and Shakti. So he calls chakras the energy processing centers. But anyway, Shakti power. As a force in the universe, Shakti powers everything from the planets in their orbit to the radiant power of the sun. Whether referring to the power behind gravity or the power behind the speed of light, Shakti is the term used to describe the operating power of the cosmos, from the smallest atom to the grandest galaxy. Any kind of force, power, or influence has its genesis in Shakti, and Shakti is feminine in nature. Now, I thought this was very interesting because when you ask a lot of people what they think about femininity and feminine power, they do not view it as, as powerful as the masculine. Most times masculine power is forceful. Most of the time it's that fire. It's like, it's like action. It's obstacles being removed out of the way with a sucker punch. Or at least that's one aspect of masculine power, because it has a spectrum. Whereas feminine power has a spectrum as well. It can be calm. It can be forceful, almost like the masculine power. You can have a woman who manipulates an entire kingdom, but will make you breakfast in bed with a smile on her face and let you talk and let you think that you're in control. That is a type of power. Feminine power is not weak. It has a spectrum. So a lot of people, because they view feminine power as weakness, they do not enhance their feminine aspect of themselves. This goes for both men and women, because the goddess lives within all of us. So what he speaks about as far as Shakti power is the classifications of Shakti power, which I did not know there were classifications. See, I learned today. So the first one is Parashakti. It is the supreme force that exists throughout the entire manifest universe. Then there is Jnana, if I pronounce that right. Shakti is the power of intellect, of real wisdom, of which there are two main dimensions. The first involves essential attributes of the mind. There is Ika or Icha Shakti, the power of the will, so your own personal willpower. Kriya Shakti, which is the mysterious power of manifestation. Through this power, acting in combination with Jnana Shakti, which is intellect, we create art and music and can achieve creative synthesis for new advances in any field. Kundalini Shakti is the power inherent in nature. It includes the phenomenon of electricity and magnetism. So I believe it's that coil, like a spiral, at the base of the spine. As you heard a lot of people talking about Kundalini, Kundalini, Kundalini yoga. Kundalini is a part of Shakti power. And the last one that he has listed is mantra power. For instance, by saying a certain kind of mantra, one can set forces into motion that will increase memory power. For centuries, people in India have chanted Saraswati mantras to achieve better results in school. The fact that mantra Shakti can be used to invoke and develop all the other kinds of Shakti underscores the importance of Sanskrit mantras in solving most problems we confront in life. So, yeah, I didn't know there were different classifications of this power. He says that it lives within us and outside of us. So as we move along, when we get to chapter 2, this is when he begins to tell the stories and explain the qualities and principles of various goddesses. And in each chapter, he includes mantras pertaining to that goddess. So the first goddess he has is Saraswati, and she governs the power of knowledge and speech. He shares the story of Saraswati and how I believe she came from Lakshmi, who is the goddess of abundance, but don't quote me on that. She was one of the first goddesses to appear. Saraswati, when you chant her, you can chant her various mantras for different things. Like if you are studying esoteric knowledge, you can chant a certain mantra in order to have a better understanding of that knowledge. If you are in school, you can use Saraswati for your studies. If you are a musician, a writer, you can use her too, because as it says, she governs eloquence and speech and creativity. What I did, I hadn't been chanting her mantras, but I had been playing her mantras. I made a painting inspired by Saraswati, and I made a video on this painting. Sage of the Stars is what I call this art piece, inspired by Saraswati. Anyway, so some of the mantras to her, I believe her bij sound or her seed sound is I'm, but don't quote me on that. She is also over the Gayatri mantra, which is considered the essence of all of the mantras. And she, let me see, foundation mantra of Saraswati. This comes from her husband trying to find a wife to use for a ritual in his honor. Saraswati cursed all of these gods because they really pissed her off for what they did. You'll have to read the story. But it says other names and qualities ascribed to her. She is Bharati, Mahavidya, Vak, Mahavani, Arya, Brahmi, Kamadenu, Bija, Garbha, I don't know if it's Hameshwari. So the foundation mantra of Saraswati is Om Aim Saraswatiye Swaha. I'll just say Om Aim Saraswatiye Swaha, or something like that. Or Saraswatiye Namaha. So you can do that if you just want to get to the foundation of her mantra. Om and salutations to the feminine Saraswati principle. And you say Swaha, because Swaha is feminine energy, but if you are, I believe, 29 or older, you say Swaha. There's also mantras. The Gayatri mantra, there is a long form and a short form. He doesn't tell you why there is a short form, but he recommends the long form because that's the one he learned. And I love how he gives a breakdown of the Gayatri mantra by all of the different chakras and what they connect to and different lines and different planes. So, Om Bor, Om Bhuvaha, Om Swaha. I'm trying to say this like what I heard on the radio. Om Bor, Om Bhuvaha, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Janaha, Om Satyam, Om Satyam, Om Tat Savitor Varanya. I don't know, but don't quote me on this. So I'm not even gonna try. But it's Om Bor, Om Bhuvaha, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Janaha, Om Satyam, Om Tat Savitor Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. And it means, O self-effulgent light that has given birth to all the lokas, spheres of consciousness, who is worthy of worship and appears through the orbit of the sun, illumine our intellect. So yeah, that is the long form. And I would recommend Saraswati for you if you are an artist, and a writer, a musician, all of that. If you're in school studying. The next person or goddess he has is Parvati, the power of consciousness and spiritual growth. And this was very interesting because this was basically a love story, and Parvati falls in love with Shiva, and they basically become one. She joins him with his consciousness, and she breaks him away from just focusing on himself. He's like focused inward, but she comes and he notices her, and they fall in love, and they just become one body, one being, one consciousness. True love. So what ended up happening was her parents had issues with her marrying Shiva because he was kind of wild. He doesn't really give too many emotions about certain things. So like, let's say I'm a serial killer or something. He's not going to treat me any different than he would a nun, because everything is non-judgmental in his eyes. He's just going to treat you the same because he's developing his consciousness. So it says Shakti as Shiva It does not have a lot of mantras to Parvati, but the story that he has listed here is very beautiful. It makes you want to fall in love with someone. It says, Om Shrim Kleem Nama Shivaya. Om Shrim Kleem Nama Shivaya. Om and salutations. May the elements and consciousness of this creation abide in me in perfect and abundant manifestation. Sometimes when you chant the counter or the consort of, say, if I chant for Shiva or if I chant to Parvati, it's almost like chanting to Shiva. About 2 weeks ago, I was in the park chanting mantras about the goddess Lakshmi, and I went into a parking lot after I had done chanting, and on a car in the parking lot was a sign or a license plate that said, I'm Vishnu. I kid you not. I'm Vishnu. Vishnu is Lakshmi's husband that she selected. Lakshmi, which is the next one, she is over the power of abundance. She will provide for your every need. If you are hungry, if you want more friends, if you want more beauty, if you chant Lakshmi enough, she will bring you these things. I have chanted Lakshmi mantras in the past where I have literally saved myself from the streets. I have literally saved myself from going completely broke because I have been chanting Lakshmi's mantras. Lakshmi was basically like the first goddess to come. She came from Narayana, and she is connected with Vishnu. She came out of the churning of the sea. They were churning the sea to get some type of immortal nectar. So it was gods and demons churning the sea to get this nectar of immortality. But as they churned the sea, it says, a shining woman of extraordinary beauty arose from the surging, swirling mists. Clad in a deep pink sari and bedecked with gold and precious stones, she floated to the side of the celestials and alighted softly. She was Lakshmi, sovereign spouse and part of Narayana himself, regal and supreme. So Lakshmi chooses Vishnu instead of Indra to be her husband because she sees the purity within Vishnu's heart. That's why if you're chanting her, I'm sure Vishnu will help. If you're chanting Vishnu, Lakshmi will help. But she went into the chest of Vishnu. She melted into his chest, throbbing as part of his own celestial heart, from which a blazing strand of light then slipped down his spine to the very base, paused briefly, and moved up once again to his head, filling it with spidery tendrils of golden energy. And then he says the most beautiful line I have ever read in any book. Vishnu stood wrapped in bliss, shedding tears of joy, and spoke without even hearing his own voice. He says, God's love, through whatever door it comes, is the end of all desire and yearning. I was like, God, that's so beautiful. That's such a beautiful line. I just, oh my God, I can't. So, some of Lakshmi's mantras: Om Shrim Lakshmiye Swaha. So I chant mine like Om Shrim Mahalakshmiye Swaha. Om Shrim Mahalakshmiye Swaha. There was also a mantra I learned on Sanskrit Mantras YouTube channel, which was a Lakshmi Ganesha mantra, and it was Om Shri Lakshmi Ganapataye Namaha. there's a mantra to become more attractive, like physically attractive. Om Padma Sundarye Namaha. So yeah, you can make the personality more pleasing. You can also develop the powers of Lakshmi. Om Shrim Siddhaye Namaha. Mantra Siddhi is like, Siddhi are magical powers. So even if you say a mantra a certain amount of times, you start to develop the traits of the mantra that you are chanting. So if you are chanting to Lakshmi and you have chanted 125,000 times, 500,000 times, all of these different things, you will start to gain the powers of Lakshmi. You will start to develop her qualities. But yeah, so I'm not going to go through all of the goddesses, but there is, okay, there's like two, maybe one more that I wanted to speak about. And it is, maybe two more. So one of them is Lalita. And Navaratri just passed. So Navaratri is basically the festival of the goddess, where the goddess comes down to the earth plane in her many forms and aspects. So you will get, you will have days dedicated to Lakshmi, days dedicated to Durga, days dedicated to Saraswati. Some people like to switch it up, or so I heard, and I heard that the festival varies in different parts of India. But anyway, so Lalita. Lalita is she who is of 1,000 names. The great feminine with 1,000 powers. This is literally one of the most intense things I have ever read. Lalita. She is the divine matrix to whom all of nature dumbly calls. So Lalita is basically the great feminine. While some people may already be familiar with these teachers, the great feminine holds the key to our spiritual advancement and even liberation itself. Whew. I'm like, this is intense. In our exploration of the great feminine, we have met Saraswati, we've met Kali. Now we come to Lalita, she of 1,000 names and powers. Although the word 1,000 is used, it is symbolic of and synonymous with numberless, countless. Lalita is the hidden feminine who provides a route to tremendous attainment in this life. So, okay, I gotta break this down because this is kind of intense. So there are verses called the Lalita Sahasranama. This great work, which has become a scripture in its own right, comprises the second half of the Brahmananda Purana, of which there are several versions. So with this, if you chant these mantras, you can literally eradicate your karma. You can eradicate all past mistakes. You will be purified. I'm sorry if I'm pausing. I'm literally looking through this book. Recitation of even one of these 1,000 names is said to have more merit than taking a bath in the Ganges. I don't know if it's Ganges, performing various austerities, or giving to the Brahmins all sins, even grave ones, committed by one who says the full 1,000 names will be washed away by a single recitation of these names. There is no evil act that cannot be rectified by chanting these 1,000 names with devotion on a regular basis. To look for another source to erase sins would be like going to the snowy mountain to escape the cold. Man, when I found out this stuff, I was like, I'm looking for this 1,000 names. And I ended up finding it on YouTube. It's 48 minutes long. I have not memorized it. I have not chanted it yet, but all I do is play it over and over and over and over and over. And when I say it is 1,000 names, girl, boy, dude, bruh, sister, it is 1,000 names. Literally 1,000 names. And each and every name is very specific. It literally describes this woman, this goddess, feminine energy to a T in the most descriptive, seductive, beautiful poetry I have ever read. I had to email it to myself so that I could memorize the names. Lalita to my email. So let me read to you some of the translations of the names. This is how it starts off. The translation. May we meditate on the divine, whose body has the red hue of vermilion, who has 3 eyes, who wears a beautiful crown studded with rubies, who is adorned with the crescent moon, whose face sports beautiful smile, indicating compassion, who has a beautiful limb, or who has beautiful limbs, whose hands hold a jewel-studded golden vessel filled with nectar, and in the other a red lotus flower. I'm like, good God. Then it says, she who is intent on fulfilling the wishes of the universe, or wishes of the gods. That's number 5. She whose hair has been adorned with flowers like Kampaka, Ashoka, Punaga, and Sagandhika. That's number 13. She whose eyes possess the luster of the fish that move about in the stream of beauty flowing from her face. I was like, good God. She whose knees are like crowns shaped from the precious red jewel, Manikya, a kind of ruby. I'm just like, good God, lady. She whose toenails give out such a radiance that all the darkness of ignorance is dispelled completely from those devotees who prostrate at her feet. Girl, if I had toenails like that, I would never be wearing shoes. I swear to God. I'm like, dang, this is really intense. But yeah, that concludes that part about the what do you call it? The goddesses. He talks about being careful with the Shakti power. And one of his examples is he speaks about a young man who, I guess, over the course of lifetimes was so devoted he developed natural mantra siddhi, and he was born with powers. He could just manifest objects in his hand and put it in your hand. But because he did not spiritually develop himself, he had a high ego, and as a result of his ego, he paid the price, which you can read about in this book. Shakti in your life. So, mantra siddhi. It says 125,000 mantra repetitions were required to seat a mantra in the heart. The number of repetitions will enable you to reach what is called mantra siddhi, a term denoting power and facility with the mantra. More repetitions magnify the result even more, so that one may affect not only one's own personal life, but others as well. By prayer combined with mantra, for example, you can chant mantra on behalf of others, but always preface such a work with the prayer that while you are doing this for so-and-so's benefit, you are not taking their karma. It talks a little bit about beads. There's a glossary at the back. So yes, this concludes my book review for Shakti mantras, I give this a thumbs up. I love all of his books that I have read so far. I hope you learned something today. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment below. Talk to you later. Bye bye.